Hi there, I'm Phil the Practical Gardener. So this is tip 12.7, sprinkler systems. Sprinklers are certainly a very useful way of managing your watering situation, although they can be very wasteful of water, which is a limited and reducing resource. So one should be careful about the usage of them. However, they're certainly a useful resource, particularly when you're away on holiday, in which case you can use an automated timer. This will allow the sprinklers to be turned on at set times. Many systems have got several different stations, which means that you can set them for different times or different amounts of usage. The different types of sprinklers, ranging from the most wasteful to the least wasteful, are as follows. General sprinklers. These are attached to hoses and can be easily moved around the garden. They can cover a large area effectively. However, they are wasteful of water, much of which can be lost to evaporation. As more and more regions and cities have restrictions on watering or a high cost of water metering, sprinklers often aren't economical. Also, by wetting the whole plant, they can encourage fungal and bacterial diseases. So they're best used in the early evening to allow foliage to dry and for water to soak into the soil, or else early in the morning. Generally, it is best to use oscillating or rotating sprinklers as they provide better water coverage and the large droplets are less affected by wind and evaporation than with jet type sprinklers. Oscillating sprinklers irrigate in a more or less rectangular pattern, which suits the shape of most gardens. This sprinkler that I have can cover almost all of my front garden. They can be manually adjusted to allow for the area to be covered. Fan type sprinklers are simple devices that don't distribute water evenly and send a finer mist which is more easily affected by the wind or evaporation. Also, the circular pattern that they cover isn't usually very efficient. Microjets. These are inserted in a line into a hose line and send out a spray which covers a small area of the garden. Most microjets are directional, ranging from 90 degrees to 360 degrees, most commonly 180 degrees. The hose line can be attached to a fence, which means that a permanent system will be safe from damage when cultivated with the jets spraying into the garden. As another option, the microjet can be attached to the top of a riser, allowing the spray to go over low foliage. It pays to allow some overlap from the microjets to reduce the results of the spray becoming disrupted by foliage. Mini sprinklers. These spray droplets in all directions, so are not directional. However, being a sprinkler rather than a jet, droplets are larger and less likely to be disrupted by wind. The sprinkler is usually attached to a riser, unless attached to a structure such as a greenhouse. The range is usually further than with microjets, with a diameter up to 3 meters or 10 foot, so they are suited to larger gardens, usually vegetable gardens. It is harder to tuck the hose line away compared with mini sprinklers. These little stakes in Barbara's garden mark the hose so that it doesn't get damaged when she is gardening. Soaker hoses. These are hose lines with perforations allowing for fine spraying. Some simply drip into the ground, others send up a fine spray similar to a microjet. They take more time to move into position than general sprinklers, so often used for the growing season in vegetable gardens where they can be left in situ for several months. Robust forms are better than cheaper ones which can be damaged by trampling or cultivation. Drippers. These small emitters are spaced along a hose line, often at the end of fine lateral whiskers which can place them close to crop plants. Drippers can be put in place for an entire growing season or can be set up permanently. They can be used for some larger vegetables such as tomatoes, capsicums or cucumbers. They're also well suited to fruit trees and shrubs, whose roots will seek out the moist areas of soil. Drippers are the most efficient way of using scarce water and don't encourage disease by wetting foliage or increasing humidity. They can also operate at very low water pressure, depending on the model. Drippers can be prone to getting blocked, so an inline filter can be useful if there are likely to be particles in the water. So that's it for this tip. Personally, I prefer hand watering with a hand wand, which I'll be covering in tip 12.6. Now, I haven't produced that tip at this stage, so be sure to subscribe to my channel and also like this tip so that you're sure to see the further ones. You can also look at my website, which is linked below, and you'll see that under resources I show the tips that are available so that you can help to navigate your way through them. Overall, I'll be creating a total coverage of the garden situation. So thank you so much for watching this through to the end.